Hey everyone! Today we're exploring a compelling story involving potential government leaks, rumours, and what's really going on behind the scenes at the Treasury. We're focusing on an incident that took place on February 11th at the Darlington campus, and it's definitely turning heads. On that day, during a review of Treasury operations, reports emerged about a possible leak tied to the Office for Budget Responsibility, OBR, forecast. The situation raised major concerns. But was it an actual leak or just speculation running wild?
And I also just wanted to touch on an important issue. When we were up in the Darlington campus examining the work of the Treasury on that very day, the 11th of February, there was a leak, well, we believe it was a leak, and I think there was a leak inquiry in the department of the OBR forecast. Do you take that as a serious matter?
Yes, I do. I do not condone leaks. There's always going to be speculation ahead of things like a spring statement or a budget about the different measures. Some people who say that they are a source close to one department or another aren't always as close as they say they are, and so sometimes those leaks are more speculation rather than leaks. But when you took evidence from James Bowler, the Permanent Secretary at the Treasury in Darlington on the 11th of February, he rightly said that he would do a leak inquiry into that, but maybe I'll pass to my colleague Will McFarlane to say a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Chancellor. Thank you, Chair. I think the Permanent Secretary wrote to the committee in March just to update on the fact that he had opened an inquiry into the article as discussed with you, including into whether this article was in fact a leak, or as the Chancellor says, and I think Richard Hughes from the OBR reflected to you yesterday, a sort of feature of speculation, people knowing how the OBR forecast works. So that inquiry is open. It is our policy as a department not to comment on leaks or other speculation about forecasts or indeed policy ahead of financial and economic statements. However, the Permanent Secretary is absolutely clear on the point of principle that all forecasts are market-sensitive material and private and should be protected and should be announced to Parliament in the proper way at the end of the process. And as a result, and I think as he confirmed to you in writing, Chair, we've revisited internally access to the forecast in line with our procedures, which are robust as you would expect, and our approach to security, and reminded all those involved, which is a large number for sort of complex events of these sorts, of their responsibilities to that information.
Do you believe any civil servant was behind the leak?
I'm not going to comment on leaks or speculation.
Well, on the OBR's circulation list, there's about 102 people who get the final forecast, but prior to the 11th of February, there were a number of meetings, obviously, that took place. 4 of those include special advisors, and including special advisors attending meetings that in the past they wouldn't have attended. Can you tell me which special advisors attended the meetings?
Professor John Van Reenen, who is chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, attended meetings with the Office for Budget Responsibility. He also attended some of the technical meetings where he provided evidence to the OBR on the different measures that the government are taking forward. I feel very fortunate to have Professor Van Reenen as chair of my Council of Economic Advisors. He's a very esteemed economist, previously having been at the London School of Economics and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and I think it is absolutely right that he attends those meetings.
So he's a special advisor, as appointed as a special advisor to you?
Yes, it's slightly different because it's the Council of Economic Advisors and he's chair of the Council of Economic Advisors for me.
Okay, so it was John Van Reenen that attended those 4 meetings before the 11th of February?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
What do you think? Should governments be more transparent about their processes, or is secrecy essential for sensitive forecasts like these?